They're
Tiny feet.
so freaking cute.
I know, I love it. Thank you, Adidas. Then I got the full tracksuit with a Alex. Alex goes, "What's going on with the reptiles?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
It's good.
Okay, ready? Oh, perfect. All right, let's go live. Oh, welcome.
Is it live?
It is live. Welcome to a very exciting episode of what is happening with my life right now.
Literally.
We are obviously in a different setting in our podcast. Shout out to 201 Loft House and our producer back here, Arturo, who's awesome. But we decided to change up the setup because we're going to do back-to-back episodes. We're actually doing them live in the studio, which is the first time we do that this year.
So bear with us.
Yes. And the reason why we're doing this, you'll find out at the end of each episode. Obviously, you guys know that we have been out of town. Yvette has been out of town for 3 weeks. She went to Tanzania.
Yeah.
Said it right.
Yeah.
Tanzania. And then you went to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And then you ended at a safari.
We went to safari and then Zanzibar.
So we're going to just, look, we know we've already been getting text messages. So we go, why don't we just go live and tell people to watch it? And if you're not watching live, we're going to send you the replay and then we can have conversations with you guys because it's a lot. You have 3 weeks. I have 1 week. So
it's still a lot for both of us.
Yes. So welcome to our show. Today's episode is a personal one and I have a lot of notes. If you
I have not seen, by the way.
She has not seen it. If you are a reader, Yvette wrote a beautiful mini story. And that's why, and I took a lot out of the story because you had some amazing, like I was crying. And I went back and read it 3 times. So I'm sitting down literally to interview my co-founder. She's going to talk about her climb, literally up a mountain and what taught her about the difference between life happening to her and life happening through her.
Yeah.
She didn't know it at the time, but she was climbing with a serious medical condition. She found out after she came down and somehow not knowing was part of what got her to the top. So today we're going to take some moments and just really talk about this journey, the 4 levels of consciousness, which I know are super important for you and me and YGC and personal and in business, and the season that you just kind of went through, the before that people have kind of been seeing. You're going to talk about the during, and then people are going to see you in the after.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am, but yes.
Okay. Well,
I'm also very emotional. I don't know why. I'm never, but I am.
But
I'm happy about it because
Yes.
I think this is kind of part of the new through me.
Well, why don't we do this before I just start drilling you in questions? Why don't you just share a little bit? Like just share with the audience.
Okay. So it started because my life partner, Charles, his bucket list was to go to Mount Kilimanjaro and to climb it. And you know when you say yes to something and you're not really quite sure what you're saying yes to? I said yes. I did all the things. I actually did study. I was training for a long time. Actually, the training started in last November, and then I was in that stupid car accident, and then I couldn't really pick back up until maybe the beginning of March as far as like really getting back at it. Did all my rehab, all the things. But no matter how much was on the internet as far as what to expect, what to bring, what is going to happen to you, the 8 days that you're trekking, altitude sickness, all the things, you don't really understand what you're getting into until you get there. And then all you know is the only way to get to the other side is literally to go through this. Yep. It's either you go through this or like you're not doing the experience at all. But yes, we were on the Mount Kilimanjaro 8-day trek, which they have different days. I highly suggest if anybody's going to do this to do the 8 days because everything is based on how your body responds to the altitude. And especially since we live here in Houston, it was 0. Yeah. We're at 0 here feet, and climbing up to 19,000 feet was a big difference for my body.
Okay. So before we talk about this, because I want to talk about so many things, but I only picked 5 questions based on your story and what I learned about your story. But talk about what you and Charles talked about before, because the first question leads into something that you guys had decided before. So what was your, I guess, commitment to what would happen to if one of you guys
It's one
couldn't,
of it.
couldn't
Yeah.
finish. So let's
Okay.
tell
So
the audience.
it is very physical, and they tell you that it's really physical. And so we joked back and forth, but we did say in front of the 2 other people that came with us on the trip, hey, there's 4 of us. What happens if one of us decides, or what if something happens to the other person and they can't continue to go up the mountain? Or what if something physical happens or whatever? But Charles and I really talked about it. And I said, I'm not thinking anything's going to happen. However, there is that possibility. They tell you. So what are we going to do? We'd already made the decision that outside of an absolute emergency, like you have to be taken to the hospital, that if something happened to one of us, like, you know, you broke a knee or I don't know, whatever, that the other person can continue the journey.
Okay.
I did not know that that was actually going to have to go into play.
Right.
And it's always easy to make decisions. And then when something really happens and you go, oh my gosh, we actually talked about this and now it's before me. And I really have to make this choice.
Okay. So that's where I'm going to start.
Okay.
You had to make the decision
Yes.
to stay alone.
Yes.
Charles got sick.
Yes.
And he was on day 3.
3.
Okay.
Yeah. It got altitude sickness.
Yes. So you had to choose and you decided to continue solo. So
yeah,
that's the moment life first kind of felt like it was happening to you.
Yeah, 100% at me, 100 like a wildfire.
Before it flipped into choosing to keep going, or before it flipped into you choosing to keep going.
Yes.
So let's talk about a little like that moment.
Okay. Well, very humbling in so many ways, but also like you're kind of like frozen in time, saying to yourself, A or B. And already thousands of feet up on the mountain, the wind's blowing in your face, he's sick, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Half of me was like, I love this man, I want to take care of him, and I want to make sure he's okay. But then the other half of me was the Yvette that goes, I can do this, and I don't want to not have to be able to do this. So we had a little powwow, and I was like, we really need to be honest with each other as far as like, do you feel like I need to go with you? And he was like, 100%. Are you kidding me? I need you to go on top of that mountain for both of us. So there were 2 beautiful guides, and I want to mention their names, Mary and Johnny. Mary wound up walking with Charles back down to the lowest base camp so he could be taken. I don't think he went to a clinic, but basically taken back to the hotel. Johnny wound up being my personal guide for the rest of the time, and he continued with me up the mountain. I had said to Mary before I left, I said, listen, I can only do this if I know that you will communicate, because their cell phones worked, ours didn't. You've got to communicate with me that I know Charles is okay, or else I will not be able to do this. And she promised, and she said yes. So by the time that evening, I got the first video call it was a recording from Charles saying that he was okay, that he'd made it back to the hotel. So that was like relief number 1. But I will be honest, because it took a long time to get back to the base camp where everybody was, because you're basically by yourself all day long hiking. Not all by myself, I was with Johnny, but I get back to the tent.
Oh, yes. This is walk us back to the first night alone in your tent.
Yes.
Because that was a big, again, if you read the story,
it was
what was
big.
actually going through your head?
Yeah. So the first time was actually daytime when I actually got back, and everybody else had already had lunch. They're taking their naps, and they were all like, everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. I had gotten to the camp they gave me something to eat. And I was just kind of like in a daze, like, what is happening in my life right now? I get into the tent, and I think that's when the real reality set in. I'm not going to cry because it wasn't a bad thing. It was just more like you find yourself in situations that you say to yourself, you chose this, you know what you want. It's not going to be easy, but what the hell are you going to do? So I sat there in the tent, and it was kind of a morbid feeling, to be honest, because Charles was, a tent for 2. His stuff was still there because he decided on during the track that he had to go back down. So his stuff was there. So I look over, and I'm kind of like, okay, this is weird that his stuff is here, but his essence is not here. And then I just kind of sat there going, and now I was complaining about the tent being small and how we both were like so cramped in it. And now I'm looking around going, it's really big, and I'm going to be by myself. And at night, this is going to be really different. And that is when I think I was a little scared. I was scared to go, you're in Africa with the only two people you know are, thank God, in the tent next to us, Sarah and Mario, with people you really don't know that are on your team, and you're putting your life in the hands of guides that you just met 2 days ago. And mentally, the thought of like, you really are by yourself. I couldn't call anybody. And there's no reception, there's no anything. You just kind of sit around and go, okay, I'm going to do this.
But no, we had to live through the Facebook group. It was like looking for you
Yeah,
guys.
like, where's Yvette? Where's Charles?
Yeah.
Where's he been going with them? And I'm very grateful that Mario and Sarah are there, because Sarah came into the tent and I started crying, and she's like, are you okay? And I go, I'm not. But I don't think I could do this without you guys being here, because it is a very isolating and very lonely feeling. But at the same time, I had this fire burning inside of me of like, no, I can do this. Yeah. And I'm really sorry if I swear, because I might swear on here. Like, my real thoughts.
I'm sorry. Have we never
that were in the real thoughts that were in my head were like, listen, and this is where things started to change, because I was like, okay, I always say, if people just let me have my emotional moment, then I get over it and I move on. So I was starting to have my little emotional moment. I had it with Sarah. Mario came in and talked to me too. And then by the time dinner came, I could tell I was still kind of like a little tense, and people are like, how's Charles? What's going on? Or did you get word that he's okay? But by the time I went to bed, which was interesting, because now all of a sudden I start hearing everything in the campground at a total different, like I started noticing everything. But by the time I got up the next morning, I was like, more like, all right, literally, it was not in a mean way talking to myself, but in an encouraging, like, okay, bitch, get up, you can do this. Yeah. Like, it's a whole new day. Yesterday was yesterday, today is today, move on. It's no longer life is happening to me, at me. It's like, no, this could actually be happening for you, and take it as it is and just allow whatever it is that this mountain in the universe wants to give you. You've been asking. Yep. The whole time up the mountain, I had been asking, I heard, mountain, that you talk to people and you tell them things, and, you speak deeply into their world. I'm like, I'm listening. I'm like, well, you asked. And maybe this is your opportunity to just keep listening.
Well, which leads us, she doesn't know the questions I'm asking her, but this leads us perfectly into, you talked about the 4 levels of consciousness.
Yes. And
things happening to you, for you, through you, and as you. So those are the 4 levels for people that don't know that. And that is something that's very deeply rooted into you and on you.
And on me.
And on
my
you.
Little tattoo proving it.
For those who don't know, it's things are happening to you. Things are happening level 2 for you, level 3 through you, and then level 4 as you. So can you break down, like, for someone hearing this for the first time, kind of how that happened for you?
Okay. So the it coming at me, or like the victim mentality, was, why is this happening? Why is Charles's body not responding? And why does he have to leave? And why am I stuck here? And why by myself? And why do I have to do this? All those things. That was me internalizing everything. Is like, it's just coming at me, and oh my God, reacting, instead of just going, okay, again, what we tell our clients, I did the same thing. I literally had to pause and go, Yvette, you're recognizing that this is just happening at you, instead of the next level was, what if this is actually happening for you? Because you asked for it. So then that next stage was, okay, so if this is happening for me, then I need to be looking at this with a whole different set of eyes, ears, feelings, thoughts, emotions, everything that I'm about to experience. And that was really...
Day 4 was for you, started for you. Isn't that crazy? Day 4?
Yeah, day 4 was for me. Mm-hmm. Then 5 and 6 definitely was, okay, now you're walking out that this is for you, and then let it start to come through you. I think the through me times were when I could actually... Because sometimes it is just me and Johnny. Even though there's other trekking groups that walk by you once in a while, or you see other people, you can look around and you can look for miles and there's no one around. Yeah. Nothing except for a rock and some really cool vegetation that only exists on that mountain, which he was great at describing, like, this is such a tree and this grows here. So I was very entertained in that sense, but I only had my thoughts to myself. And I am a talker, but I'll be honest, I was having a hard time breathing, which I mentioned that I had altitude sickness, but I didn't know I had altitude sickness.
That's in my next question.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So as I am with Johnny, I'm saying to him, I'm not talking because I don't want to have conversations with you. If anything, what you're educating me on is very helpful to keep my mind going in the right direction, but I can't talk, which when day after day that you're really not talking, that's a lot of thinking. So I think that's where the through me started coming in, as far as like, I don't even know really how to describe it other than you're walking, you know that everything's around you, but I'm playing different things in my head. And you know that I meditate like no other at night. And so I was just kind of having my own meditation moments of like, okay, mountain. So if my future's like this, and or I want this, or how do I explain this, or if I want more of that in my life, or like I just kind of started going with every single person, every single situation, family, the whole nine yards, just going, well, I'm here. Might as well just start asking or putting
Yeah.
pieces together as far as like how I want it in my mind.
Okay, and then where to get us to the fourth stage, which is
Okay,
as you.
as me. I don't think I did not experience that until the last 2 points. Once you get to a place called Stella Point, that is kind of been, as I described or I read on the internet, a climber's way of knowing, hey, you're almost to the top. Like if you've made it here,
Like the final checkpoint.
the final checkpoint, because that was some, I mean, we're talking up, like imagine just climbing up these.
Yeah.
But this was a little bit flatter, but I thought, oh my God, everybody said once you get here, then it's just the next 45 minutes to an hour, whatever, to the actual summit. So once I got to Stella Point, I think it was the emotional release of like, did it? Like, I'm almost there. And you kind of have that release of like, okay. And then on our way to the summit, we ran into, well, not run into, but we passed the people that I'd been camping with. Because again, I was always with my own guide because I was a little bit slower than they were because I was having to stop every 100 feet to breathe. So when I saw them, they were so encouraging. It was like seeing long lost family that you hadn't seen for years, even though I just met these people except for Mario and Sarah. But that was like the boost I needed to go, okay, they did it. They're not going back down. So there's hope. Like there is the other side to all this, and they're about to experience all of it. And Yvette, you just have this little bit more to go. So, but between then and getting up to the summit, I was really like probably every 10 to 15 feet having to, and if you go on my Instagram page, you'll see I posted yesterday